Dear students, welcome back. Today I'll be explaining you the ninth chapter of Honeydew, which is the first part of the Great Stone Face. The Great Stone Face was a work of nature formed by several rocks piled one upon another. From a distance, however, it looked like a human face. If the onlooker came too near, he would lose sight of the outside of the face. Whereas, from a distance, the face was very clear. Many people of the valley owed the prosperity of the valley to the Great Stone Face. To a mother and her son, who sat talking at the door of their cottage, the Great Stone Face was easily visible. The son Ernest hoped that someday he would be able to talk to the Great Stone Face. Ernest was eager to hear it speak. The features of the Great Stone Face were so pleasant that Ernest thought its voice to be gentle too. Hearing her son speak so, the mother was reminded of an old prophecy, a story that her mother had told her. She chooses to tell Ernest that story. She tells Ernest that according to an old prophecy, it is believed that at some future day, a child would be born who is in his manhood would bear an exact resemblance to the Great Stone Face. Also, this child would grow up to be the most noble person the valley had ever known. For many, his prophecy was idle talk, but for many others, the prophecy was yet to come true. For Ernest, his happiness lay in the fulfillment of this story. He hoped to be alive when the prophecy would come true and be able to meet and talk to the likeness of the Great Stone Face. Ernest had no teacher and he did not go to a proper school. He had taken the Great Stone Face to be his teacher. After work, he would keep gazing at the face of the Great Stone Face for hours and derived encouragement and kindness from the gentle features of his face. Around this time, a strong rumor got spread in the valley that the prophecy had finally come true. An old native man of the valley, Gathergold, who had gone away on business, was returning to the valley to spend his remaining days in his native town. The immense wealth that Gathergold had earned soon became the talk of the town, and Gathergold too returned with great pomp and show. People of the valley began to see in Gathergold the likeness of the Great Stone Face. When Gathergold finally arrived, however, Ernest was disappointed to see no resemblance between the two. Greatly confused, he looked up to the Great Stone Face and felt as if the Great Stone Face was asking him to wait patiently for the prophecy to come true. As years passed by, Ernest grew to be a young man who attracted little notice from the inhabitants of the land. He silently kept gazing at the Great Stone Face after the day's work was over and continued for the prophecy to come true. The gentle sentiments reflected in the face of the Great Stone Face were imbibed in Ernest's character. He was laborious and hard-working. He was also wise and full of sympathy for others. By now, Mr. Gathergold was dead, but long before his death, his wealth had vanished into nothingness. Soon it was agreed that the people of the valley had been mistaken in assuming a likeness between the Great Stone Face and Gathergold. The prophecy, therefore, was yet to be fulfilled. By this time, another great son of the valley, who had left the valley to be a great soldier, was returning to his native land during his old age. General Blood and Thunder was a renowned soldier and immediately attracted the attention of the people, who in him began to see the likeness of the Great Stone Face. As in the case of Gathergold, Ernest failed to comprehend the likeness of the Great Stone Face in the journal. 2. Again, Ernest looked up at the great stone face who seemed to be saying that prophecy is yet to be fulfilled. So this is the end of the first part of the chapter, the great stone face. I'll be posting the second part soon. Take care. Bye bye.